Greetings friends, I am DJ and today I will be making a Jason Voorhees cosplay based on his appearance in Friday the 13th Part 3. Now before we get started, I would just like to thank everyone that has been watching and subscribing to my channel and leaving comments. It does mean a lot to me, so thank you very much. So Friday the 13th Part 3 is very notable for being the first appearance of the famous hockey mask, as well as for being the 3D installment. Jason in the film was portrayed by the late Richard Brooker. At the beginning of the film, he was wearing his Part 2 garb, but quickly switches to a new costume, fresh off of a clothing line. For the costume, I'd like to start at the most important piece, being the hockey mask. The hockey mask comes from Fear City Creations. This one here was painted by me personally in a previous video. I have it linked in the description down below as well as in the card above. In addition to that, I also have a mask of Jason's face from Dark Illusions FX. My video on that one is also listed in the description below and the card above as well. For the basics of the costume, we have a pair of black boots. As long as you have some black boots, that should be fine. They're not too important of a detail. However, because I don't have black boots myself, I decided to look on eBay and Etsy to see if anyone was selling any secondhand ones. And luckily, so what do we have here? There they are. Yeah. What we have here is the same model of boot used on screen in Friday the 13th Part 3. These are Genesco brand jump boots. I was able to find a seller of some vintage ones in pretty good condition for a honestly great price. So look around at some secondhand places if you need something film accurate. For the pants, the exact brand is unknown, but they are a silver gray, just plain work pant. It's theorized that they are Dickies brands, so I was able to get those as those are still in production even today. Now a small detail that people have been able to find out is that over the pants, he is wearing a Garrison basket weave belt with a silver buckle. It's not that important of a detail and only really seen in like half of one shot, so I just use a plain black old belt that I have. For the shirts, he is wearing a green work shirt. It is either a 6-button Big Mac work shirt or a 6-button Sears shirt. Both of these were in production at the same time and they are practically identical. It's mostly assumed to be the Big Mac type, as most of the following films would use that same brand of shirt. However, I had poor luck when I was getting the supplies for this and was not able to find the exact size that I need and the exact right color. However, they are floating around pretty commonly, so I'd say take a look around and see what you can find. Now because I didn't find one in the time that I was looking for it, I simply got a Dickies work shirt. It's the modern equivalent of these old Big Mac ones, and a lot of cosplayers tend to use them for Jason costumes. Now for this work shirt, I did get it in one size smaller than my actual size to make the sleeves appear shorter like they did in the film. Richard Brooker was a little bit on the skinnier side, so they padded the suit quite a bit, which gave him this very odd appearance when in the costume. And under the green work shirt is just a simple plain white t-shirt. Now in the film it was modified for a larger neck hole to show more of the appliances of the Jason mask that Richard Brooker was wearing. All in all, is pretty simple, and as these clothes were canonically, air quotes, fresh off of a clothing line, they are also pretty clean. I do think I will modify them slightly, do a little bit of very light weathering with some sandpaper and very light acrylic paints. As you can see on this shirt, it does have the Dickies logo, so that I'm just going to take off by breaking the stitch that's connected to. And in the film, the right chest pocket has the flap taken off, so I will take that off as well. For the negligible weathering, I'm just going to go over a few spots with some low grit sandpaper. A little bit around the collar, a little bit on the chest, some on the edges of the sleeves, and on the ankles of the pants. After this, I'm going to take just a little bit of acrylic paint and smear that on with a sponge brush. Just to add a little bit of depth and dirt onto this costume. One quick thing of note, I was just looking through the footage after painting this a bit, and all of this gray paint that I'm using for the weathering, on film it actually pops just so much more than actually what I'm looking at in front of me. Like the way it's highlighting the very edge of the collar, you could barely notice like in person with your own eyes. So I guess it really depends on if you're making this for, I guess, a photo shoot or to actually like go to a convention to have people see it in person. Because with my own eyes versus looking down at my camera, it's like I'm looking at two completely different things. Just one thing to keep in mind for future reference. It's a pretty simple one, so let me throw this on and see how it turns out. You know, I'm just realizing this thing doesn't have any ear holes. All I could hear is the sound of my own fluids right now. Honestly, it's nice though. The whole thing together. The foreshortening of the sleeves like I mentioned. All in all, it's one of these simpler costumes, and it feels pretty rewarding to finally have it finished and all put together like this. If you liked the video, leave a like down below. If you have any comments, leave them down below as well. If you want to see more of my videos, feel free to subscribe. I'm aiming for 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I have been DJ. Farewell, friends.